Which celebrities have actually killed someone? Kevin O'Leary drove his boat at unsafe speeds at night while intoxicated, hit a smaller boat killing 2 and injuring 3 more. His wife got the blame as she was slightly less drunk. Charges were dismissed even though if it was any other person they would have been going to prison for manslaughter. X200B. X200B. There were witness testimony claiming to have seen Kevin at the wheel at the time of the incident. Kevin's lawyer stated that the other boat did not have its navigation lights on, but that's debatable as it's he said she said. Matthew Broderick, Rebecca Gay Howard, Phil Spector, Robert Blake, William S. Burroughs, former First Lady Laura Bush, Caitlyn Jenner, Alec Baldwin, Charles S. Dutton, Aaron Hernandez, Vince Neil, Don King, Oscar Pistorius, Chris Benoit, Keith Moon, John Landis. Celebrities who were also decorated war veterans. X200B. Audie Murphy, Christopher Lee, Jimmy Stewart, Lee Marvin, Oliver Stone. Do you count pets? Ozzy Osbourne shot and killed 17 of his cats and attempted to murder his wife. She survived with some luck. From the older times, the junkie-turned-writer William Burroughs, author of the legendary Naked Lunch, killed his second wife. I'd give he could be named celebrity cause he is known well but rather only at black metal scene Varg Vikernes. He killed another Cole member of the Mayhem band and due to it had been kicked out Euronymous. It was wild times for black metal, a lot of events like this. Murders, suicides and burned churches. Emo interesting and disturbing history. Google for more. Ted Kennedy killed Mary Jo Kopechny in a drunk driving accident while he was driving her from a party to an unknown but highly suspicious location. He drove off the bridge, left her to drown and went home, didn't report the accident until he was sober 12 hours later. He was a Senator US at the time and served in the Senate for another 40 years. All of Kevin Spacey's accusers mysteriously die or disappear. I'm not saying he did it, I have zero evidence, but that's kinda suspicious. Raised eyebrow, to say the least. I think he should get an honorable mention cause how do they all go bye-bye? Feeling like the Incredibles teacher who can't prove Dash is doing stuff but I know he is, smiley face. Hans Reiser. John McAfee maybe. Computer geeks would know these guys pretty well. Only the first was actually convicted, it's quite a story. The second guy dead now was quite a character. Most non-IT people will recognize the antivirus, but not the batshit person who originally created it. William Shatner's wife died under very suspicious circumstances. I've hated him ever since. 911 call. He called 911 before trying to retrieve her. She had a bruised face and broken neck and it was ruled as suicide. Marky Mark never actually killed the guy, but he came close on several occasions. And threw a ton of racial slurs out as well. He had one time where he went out to beat up black people, then another when he went out to beat up Vietnamese people. John Travolta withheld life-saving medication for his special needs son because Lord Xenu told him. John Travolta blasted tons of unnecessary injections in his plastic face and painkillers. But nope. Can't give drugs to his son. When I was a kid he used to say that Bruce Lee ripped the heart out of one of his opponents and he did it so fast that it was still beating. I know it's probably bullshit but I still choose to believe it because it's cool. Though I have no evidence, I'm certain Steven Seagal has probably killed someone, merely by giving them a look. Barring that, he probably also kills a few dozen donuts on a regular basis as well. Christopher Lee was a Nazi hunter for the British Secret Service for a while post-World War II. He very adamantly corrected Peter Jackson on the sound that a man makes when a knife pierces his back. Michael Jace, who played Julian on The Shield, is currently in prison for the murder of his wife. He shot her once in the back and then twice more in the legs, all in front of his young kids. Lot of anecdotal evidence to suggest Jerry Lee Lewis murdered his fifth wife and the sheriff of his hometown helped to cover it up. His fourth wife also mysteriously drowned in a swimming pool. Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Never actually convinced because he was too old and not mentally fit to stand trial when they finally gathered the evidence. Also Rey Mysterio. Kind of. Hillary Clinton if politicians count. Well, half of America's political parties if that's the case. Hillary for her entire political career though. She's racked up hundreds of bodies. Jenny McCarthy. I don't know how many deaths can be directly attributed to anti-vax misinformation spread by her, but I have no doubt that there's serious blood on her hands. Amy Wilkie in Melrose Place. Matthew Broderick aka Ferris Bueller. Drove on the wrong side of the road in Ireland and got into a head-on collision. killed the driver and passenger. Matthew Broderick and SJP killed a mother and her daughter in a car accident in Ireland by driving on the wrong side of the road back in the 90s. Beyonce I think had a hand in Aaliyah's death. Shortly after that's when she and Jay-Z got together. She usurped the Queen of Pop R&B from Aaliyah. Not sure how much of a celebrity he is, but apparently the lead singer of the band must killed his then-girlfriend's ex-boyfriend in self-defense. Alice Walton, the heiress to Walmart, killed somebody with her car that she was driving without a valid license. Nothing ever happened to her. I'm surprised to not see Burt Reynolds mentioned. While never convicted in the David Whiting murder, there is a lot of compelling evidence. Matthew Broderick didn't actually kill someone. He was driving in a car, and got in a wreck where 2 people died. I was expecting murder. If you consider the hundreds of thousands unnecessary COVID deaths from the way it was mismanaged, Trump should be at the top of the list. One for the Brits, but Leslie Grantham aka Dan Watts from EastEnders served time for killing a guy in Germany before he became famous. Does suicide count? The number jumps a lot if it does. What about accidental suicide, e.g. overdoses? Jumps even more if that counts. Jimmy Superfly Snuka was a suspect as I recall in his girlfriend's murder. I think it was proven that he abused her and left her to die. Gucci Mane has killed in self-defense. Snoop Dogg may have as well, although it was likely his bodyguard who pulled the trigger. Believe Snoop Dogg, and of course Alec Baldwin. But curious if there are others, aside from those convicted of murder and O.J. O.J. Simpson was charged with murder and the stabbing deaths of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. Tammy Lynn Witch, aka Sunny, former WWE superstar who was recently drunk driving and killed someone on the road. Indian superstar Salman Khan killed homeless people sleeping on the footpath after accidentally driving over them. I'm too lazy to list them all, but some I haven't seen on here. Matthew Broderick, Amy Locane, Rebecca Gayhart. He refuses to talk about it. But Robert Wagner must have known what happened the night Natalie Wood died. Christopher Lee, but he was a soldier in World War II, and he killed war criminals, so he did nothing wrong. He isn't alive anymore, but former US Senator Ted Kennedy, if you count politicians as celebrities. Must not be many Chappelle fans in here because otherwise the baby would be at the top of the list. Leslie Grantham, Dirty Dan Watts in EastEnders, killed a taxi driver after trying to rob him. Donald Trump indirectly killed nearly 1 million Americans through his inaction with COVID. Did Robert Wagner kill Natalie Wood on that boat? Did Christopher Walken witness anything? Venus Williams, Caitlyn Jenner, Laura Bush, and Rebecca Gayhart. All automobile related. Lauren Bush killed someone in a car wreck. I know that isn't perhaps the correct answer. James Doohan, the original Scotty from Star Trek. He killed 2 German snipers on D-Day. There's an Oscar Pistorius drinking game where you go to the bathroom and take 4 shots. Gucci Mane. Jeezy paid someone to run up on him in his hotel room and Gucci shot back. DaBaby shot and killed someone in a Walmart to protect his kid, if I'm not mistaken. Phil Lewis killed someone while drunk driving. Chris Benoit murdered his family. I'm pretty sure Christopher Walken had something to do with Natalie Wood's death. Rey Mysterio accidentally killed a wrestler in the ring with one of his moves. Boxing promoter Don King, Choi Siwon Super Jr.? Technically, his dog killed someone, but still. Sir Christopher Lee probably has since he was a Special Forces commando. Kevin Spacey, killed him with kindness. Then all the accusers died. Some reckon Grohl was involved in KC death. I hate to think that. Vince Neil killed the drummer from Hanoi Rocks while driving drunk. I haven't yet seen the singer Brandy Norwood's name in the thread. Any WWE fans in the chat? For me, Chris Benoit was a huge shocker. YNW Melly, but he's famous for it, so probably not a good answer. King Von was a serial killer, several if not dozens of bodies. Bruce Jenner vehicular manslaughter, O.J. Simpson, Vince Neil, Matthew Broderick, Alec Baldwin and Phil Lewis. Mr. Mosby, I would argue Jenny McCarthy has killed well over 1 million. DaBaby killed someone in a grocery store once, I believe. Travis Scott. Amber Heard believed to be an accident. Dante Stallworth FLWer had a DUI manslaughter in 2009. He's not that well known these days, but Phil Spector. Didn't Halle Berry hit and kill someone with her car? Brandy the R&B singer. Manslaughter from car accident. Robin Williams. Bonus points for killing a celebrity. Raker Ruth, who is out of prison now for some reason.